You're going to have to excuse me, I'm extremely nervous. I've never spoken in front of this many people before. Adding to this is a bit of an emotional day for me, which I will get to later in my talk. So me getting through this is just an act of survival on its own, really. I may cry. I'm going to really try hard to just make it, a nice little one, not a big snotty one. So that's it. And I just want to thank Pepper and Rowan for getting up super early to come with me today. As you can see, or did see, I am the editor and co-founder of Lunch Lady magazine, which I do in collaboration with Louise Bannister and Lara Burke of We Print Nice Things, but you probably know them more as the founders of Frankie Smith Journal and Spaces magazines. I really wanted to share with you the story of Lunch Lady because the whole story is pretty much based on survival. I have a video to show you to kind of intro the story and also to take up 2 minutes.
It's scary how much you love your kids. Every day we do our best to make sure that they're safe and happy. When I found out my big kid was being bullied at school for the lunches I made her, it totally crushed me. I asked her if she wanted me to make lunches more like the kids at school, but she loved her lunches and didn't understand why the kids at school didn't love them too. So we started Lunch Lady to share these lunches she thinks are so awesome and to hopefully inspire others to make simple, yummy food that we like making together.
Let's go.
The fact that our story resonated with so many people really gave me a spark back, and I got my happy kid back.
I knew that was the thing that was going to make me a little bit teary, but I'll push through. So the very beginning of Lunch Lady was trying to help my kids survive school because I gave her lunches that were different to all the other kids. Here's a picture of the lunches that she used to get, or she still does. They're nothing, crazy. It's all homemade, fruit leather, wraps, fruit from the garden, muffins. We approached her school to see if they would be interested in doing workshops, maybe teaching the other kids to make healthy food. But the school wasn't into that. They thought that was kind of telling people how to bring their kids up. So instead we decided to share it on the Lunch Lady blog, share the food and our stories. The food on the blog was really simple and the tone was like non-judgmental because, I know as a mum I don't like super long, complicated recipes or someone telling me I'm doing a shit job. So And I really tried hard to update the blog as much as I could, but for two reasons. I'm a really bad blogger, and at the time I was the sole carer of my two girls and was working 3 jobs as a designer, a photographer, and running my photo school workshops across the country to make ends meet. So it was not an easy thing to do. A year into the Lunch Lady blog, I was finding it really stressful working as a freelancer and farming my kids out to really super supportive family and friends. It was also around this time that my fellow was asked to speak at the Do Lectures in Wales. And it was here that on the side of a hill, extremely jet lagged in the west of Wales, I had an epiphany. Here I am having an epiphany. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I grabbed my laptop and started to write stuff down. It felt like a really big moment to me, and I kind of wanted it to look a bit, like a big moment too. I wrote about the speakers at the Do Lectures who were kind of annoying me and made me a little bit cranky because they were really successful in things that I didn't believe in. And then I had to do a bit of self-reflection and, that's a really shit way to look at things, and that maybe they should inspire me instead to make my life better instead of spending my energy on being cranky. I wrote in a Word document in really big letters, "I'm going to make Lunch Lady into a magazine." I thought, what if I could put all my skills and the one thing that I loved into one thing, and then I could have more control over my life and spend more time with my children. But, I do know now, looking back, that deciding to run a magazine is probably, or to get time with my kids was probably as ill-informed as making the decision to do a cafe for the same reason. But there it was out in the world in big letters in my Word document, waiting for something to happen, a bit like, I don't know, The Secret or whatever those books are. We hopped on the plane back to Melbourne, and waiting for me was this email, which I'll read out to you so you don't have to read it. "Hi Kate, I just wanted to touch base and say how I love your Lunch Lady blog. I love your honesty about parenting, your food choices and your rad photos. My name is Louise, and many moons ago I founded Frankie Magazine and then Smith Journal with my best friend Lara. Lara and I have since started on a new path to set up our own independent publishing group called We Print Nice Things. Our aim is to make beautiful things while striving for perfect work-life balance. We believe in print, but we believe in and love print, and most of all working with like-minded people who have great ideas. In a nutshell, let's talk about making a magazine together. Hope to chat soon. Kindness, Louise." P.S. We are also Lunch Ladies. Wow. It was a bit of a movie moment to me in my life. It was, slow-mo, inspirational music playing. It was pretty amazing. 1 minute I was mum with a blog and 3 jobs, and the next I was the editor of a magazine. This scared the crap out of me, as I have never been the editor of anything. I was actually the world's laziest blogger, and now my life was content. But I knew from all the memes and inspirational quotes on Instagram that pushing yourself out of your comfort zone will make amazing things happen. I remember before I started really working as the editor that it was going to be hard, like really, really hard, and I was ready for it, and I was up for the challenge. I love pushing myself, but then it actually just got really hard. I'd worked my entire life as a designer and a photographer, and by throwing myself into a totally new role at the age of almost 40 was, to say at the least, very humbling. All of a sudden, I had to find myself asking for help, saying I didn't know how to do things, and crying a lot. I felt on occasions like I was drowning, but I'm very stubborn and I'm very proud and I refuse to give up. This steep learning curve and doubt-filled days and nights was actually a really good wake-up call. I started to approach people with, especially contributors and the people in my life, with much more care, compassion and consideration. I'm a big believer in being knocked down a few pegs to see the world in a better and more enlightened light. And I did it. Over the last 2 years, the three of us worked tirelessly with 7 children between us and created 8 160-page quarterly magazines. We found ourselves on the Apple website and a couple of months ago reached the holy grail of jamieoliver.com. You can find Lunch Lady now on sale throughout Australia, New Zealand, USA, UK and all throughout Europe. Oh, and Japan. The real success of Lunch Lady is hearing from readers who feel grateful that there's finally a magazine that talks to them instead of talking down to them. It doesn't make them feel like that they're doing it all wrong or that they could be doing it better. One mum once said to me it made her feel good about being the mum that she was. I said that really fast and I'm not ready for the next bit. Anyway, however, there were other emails which I received which concerned me and made me start to reevaluate what I was doing. These were emails saying things like, "You're a superwoman. How do you do it and how do you fit it all in?" But the truth was I didn't. Women were writing to me thinking somehow I managed to live the life they saw in the magazine and on social media and make Lunch Lady with total ease. That I had some kind of magic, but I didn't, and I definitely wasn't doing it with ease. I find the idea of the superwoman really dangerous. Mum and dads are presented with it daily all over Instagram and social media, of families living perfect lives with their immaculately dressed children and beautifully clean homes, but it's just not real. And the truth is, we make a magazine about spending time with your kids, but I had actually no time for my own. I was away from home a lot, and when I was home, I was glued to my laptop. And when I wasn't glued to my laptop, I was updating social media on my phone. My fella actually has a series of photos of me passed out mid-working. My life became more about recreating the life I once lived instead of actually living it. One day my daughter said to me, "Are we doing this for fun or is this for the magazine?" Then one day, my body decided to stop. I ended up in the emergency ward of the local hospital with my kids sitting beside me. I was treated for physical and mental exhaustion. I think the technical term is burnout. And obviously, I started to doubt the value of this clearly unsustainable workload. Sorry. Someone told me I was being a good role model to my kids, that I was living proof that if you work hard, you can create your own success. And don't get me wrong, I am a big believer in this and I am a lover of hard work. But at what expense does it have to come? Is it a good example to show your kids that you should work so hard that you end up in the local emergency ward? I started to reassess what actually was success to me. Being a role model to my girls is important. I do want them to understand that hard work creates opportunities, but I also want them to understand that if your values shift, you change your mind, or if you just don't feel comfortable anymore, that it's okay to say so. I also want them to understand that I value myself and them over anything else, and that success should never come at the cost of your health or to the ones that you love. These decisions can be hard to make, but I hope I can also teach them to be strong enough to make them, and even more so to execute them. And that is exactly what I am doing. Today is the last day I am editor of Lunch Lady magazine. For me, to survive as a creative person, sometimes you need to cut yourself loose and see where you land. Lunch Lady has grown so much in the last 2 years. I've learned so much from Louise and Lara, and it's really been an incredible journey. It's been an incredible journey of self-discovery and also a very outward-looking journey of inspiration from all the creators and contributors that I speak to each day. I'm also forever grateful for Lou and Lara for taking a chance on me. For if they hadn't, I wouldn't have the incredible opportunities I have today, and I wouldn't have this story. You know, it's okay to get to a point in life and realise that what you're doing isn't for you anymore. And this decision can be really, really hard to come to, especially when you don't want to disappoint others, or you feel the public will perceive you as a failure and for giving up. There is so much pressure these days to have the beautifully curated success. But once that decision is made and you have spoken those words, the feeling of release is incredible. And you will feel yourself falling, but that is the feeling of being alive.